That's right. The Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. Did you just get the chills?
Ooh, I've been waiting my whole life to say that.
You are now listening to the Dan and Brodes Show.
What is going on, everybody? Another episode of the Dan and Brodes Show. Some would say the Sports Hub. We're still not on that yet.
Can't get behind it.
We are giving away an MLB TV subscription. And all you have to do is watch next episode that will be coming out in a couple days. But let's enjoy this episode first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are discussing the Eagles today. We're going to switch it up from the baseball talk and talk about the Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. Did you just get the chills?
Ooh, I've been waiting my whole life to say that.
Ew, me too.
Ew.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting because we've never felt this way before. We've never entered a season as Super Bowl champions. And we got to understand that, it's hard to go back-to-back in this league. Tell me a little bit on what you think about the back-to-back attempt here. Do you believe it's really possible, or how hard it is?
It's definitely possible. It's super, super hard. I think the one thing that we have going for us, though, is we have key major players at important positions, quarterback, left tackle, middle linebacker, who had to watch the Super Bowl from the sidelines and see, they got their ring, obviously. They could say they're Super Bowl champs forever. But you can't tell me that Carson Wentz, Jason Peters, Jordan Hicks, Darren Sproles, that these guys aren't going to be coming after this next Super Bowl like they didn't win the last one. They want to be on the field when that confetti flies out of the stadium and we go back-to-back, baby. Let's go.
No, I see what you're saying. They're still hungry. It's not like they're satisfied because they weren't actually on the field performing. I mean, I think we have the roster to do it, no doubt. And on paper, we're a better team. But that doesn't always necessarily mean anything because it's really just about the flow of the season and everything. But I just know that the Patriots, how dominant they've been in the last decade or so, they've only done it one time. It really is hard. But there's no way with this roster I can sit back and be like, I don't think we're going to do it. There's no way you can't enter this season and say it's Super Bowl or bust. You kind of just have to. That's the nature of the beast. But understanding how hard it really is.
Yeah, 20 returning starters. Like I said, we still have a handful of really hungry guys. We're deep. We have some really good young players. But I think chemistry is the biggest thing with this team. That's the reason we won the Super Bowl in the first place, losing all those guys. Everybody was just in sync. That chemistry is still going to be there. 20 returning starters. The biggest thing for me, the biggest thing I want to see is how the linebacker core works. Michael Kendricks was really good. He was very good for us. If Jordan Hicks stays healthy, that could balance that out. I actually think Jordan Hicks may be better than Michael Kendricks, but he's always hurt. So, if he goes down again, who did we pick up that got hurt? Did we pick up Paul Warlow as a depth pick, and then he got hurt? So, I mean, if Jordan Hicks goes down again, we don't have the depth that we had there last year, so that could be a big thing. I think Jordan Hicks' health is something that we need more than anybody else on the team. But I think we got even deeper at defensive line, even though we lost Vinny Curry, who I like a lot. I think we got even deeper with the defensive line. I think our front seven is going to be really, really good because of that. The secondary is going to be good. I want to see Sidney Jones in action. There's a lot of good. We very well could have gotten better at multiple positions, but it's just the way things go. So you need a little bit of luck to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of the linebacker core, I know Malcolm Jenkins is going to be able to play a little bit more in the box, especially now that we re-signed Corey Graham for one more year because that adds another safety. He can play a little bit more in the box. It's going to be insane, though. I can't wait. Listen, we have football actually tomorrow at this point. What are your thoughts on the preseason life? I understand it's not football, but at the same time, it is. And I like to sit there, watch Sidney Jones, watch some of these players, and just kind of get a feel of it. You hear the announcers. It's the atmosphere,
I can't say I love preseason football. I would be a liar if I did. But at the end of the day, we've been waiting since February. This year kind of feels a little bit different for me. Like, usually I'm amped up for preseason football. Even though I don't love it, I watch every quarter of Eagles preseason football anyway. Yeah, exactly. And I'll watch every quarter of it now. But, we won the Super Bowl, man. I'm just ready to get this season going at this point. I know where this team's at. I know what most of these depth players look like. Yeah, I want to see a little bit more Sidney Jones. I want to see Barnett a little bit because I think he could step into the same role Vinny Curry had last year. I think he could have the same success that Vinny Curry had last year. So there are a few guys that I'm interested to see work in the preseason, but I think this year, more so than any other year, I have a pretty firm grip on what we're going to be looking like going into the season, so I'm not too concerned about it.
I know, it honestly is the weirdest feeling in the world. It's like laid back. I've never experienced this in my life. I'd be sitting there watching all kinds of training camp stuff, and now I don't need to worry about it because I know Jim Schwartz is going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I am concerned, actually. I made a video yesterday about this Nick Foles thing. I don't know if you've heard, but he hasn't thrown a football or practiced in 3 days. He's got shoulder soreness, will not be participating in the preseason game. And I'm only concerned because, one, it could be to the point where, oh, damn, it's that bad, and we don't know if Carson's going to be back or Nick Foles is going to be back by week 1. So is it that serious, or is it let's be safe? We know we're not going to have Carson maybe for week 1. Let's not hurt his shoulder. I don't know how serious it is, and nobody knows.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know how serious it is. If it's serious, it could be a big issue. Who's the third string? Is it still Sudfeld?
It's Sudfeld, but apparently
I'm with Sudfeld all day long. I'm with Sudfeld all day long if I need to. You know this, though. I'm not comfortable about opening day. We've had this conversation. If Nate Sudfeld's starting the first game of the year, I don't know, but we'll see. I think by the time probably that third, fourth preseason game get around, we're going to probably know who the starters are going to be. If we're still sitting here 2 weeks before the season starts and they're like, oh, well, we don't know if Carson's going to start week 1. If we're still in the same spot with Carson Wentz a week before the season starts than we are right now, what are your thoughts then going into it? Like,
I mean, I would say it's a smokescreen because then Atlanta doesn't know who they're studying. You know, I think they're going to know. They're just not going to tell the media. And realistically, if he's not 100% ready to go, if he's 90, I think they just sit him out a week if Nick Foles is ready, because what's the rush? But if it comes down to Nick Foles can't go, Carson's 90%, or it's Nate Sudfeld, I'm going Carson Wentz because I said this in the video. Week 1 and 2, people are going to say, oh, it's just the first or second week. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, those 1 or 2 games can factor in home field advantage or not, and that's just as crucial into a playoff run as anything else is. So that would be concerning.
Yeah.
We didn't get anything like that. But you did mention something, the Atlanta Falcons game. Tell me why you do not feel comfortable with that Atlanta Falcons game.
I don't know, man. Every time I've looked at the schedule multiple times now, and I've tried to get a grip on what I think the Eagles' record's going to be. Obviously, things change throughout the season, so it's hard to do that. But people like to, I like to break it down, see what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah, of course.
But the Falcons, man, they rolled into our building in the playoffs. Julio Jones had 4 opportunities on the goal line to win that game. And honestly, that last one went right through his hands. It went right through his hands. We were one Julio Jones catch from not even making it out of that first round. They're walking in here, watching our banner drop after a game that they probably feel like they should have won. They're going to watch the crowd go crazy, and it's going to be their Super Bowl. That first game, when Atlanta comes to Philly, that is their Super Bowl. If we don't have Wentz on the field, I'm not comfortable. I think if Wentz is playing, I might change my mind a little bit. Yeah. But I wouldn't be shocked if we get average Nick Foles on opening night and the Atlanta Falcons are flying around with their hair on fire. That's just a bad feeling that I have.
No, I understand. And listen, even when we do discuss the schedule in here at some point as well, but even the Vikings, like a revenge game is huge in the NFL, and you got to think about everything. But we are home. And the Link is our sacred place. We don't lose it. That place is going to be electric. And if Carson Wentz is playing, let alone just in general as a football fan, as a football player, these guys train so hard. Week 1 is so energy-filled and it's so passion-filled that it's even though the Falcons are going to be pumped up because it's their Super Bowl, the Eagles are going to be insanely pumped up knowing they just won the Super Bowl, knowing the banner's dropped, and knowing they're in the Link. So it's going to be just passion-filled on both sides.
Either way, it's going to be I think it's going to be a great football game because I think people are sleeping on Atlanta a little bit coming into the season. So I think this is going to be a good football game regardless. If Foles is under center, I don't know where I'm going with that. If Wentz is playing, I'm on board though, baby. Yeah. If he's cleared by the doctors, he better be playing. I'm locked in.
I'm not
locked
off
all
board
the way
with Nick Foles. I'll be honest with you. Look, I've said that 5 times last season, and look what happened. So at this point, what am I going to do? Do it again? Am I going to actually think the man can't do it again for week 1?
15 minutes after Wentz went down, I tweeted Nick Foles is going to win Super Bowl MVP.
You know what I did?
What? Yeah, I know what you did. You got on Barstool.
Flipping off the TV. His first pass was a pass to our left tackle, man. Come on. Unbelievable. But we were talking about the schedule, and people love to go through wins and losses. I don't go through the individual games because I just feel like there's always one game you're supposed to win that you lose, and there's one game you're supposed to lose and you win. But I just look at a record as a whole. And, I'm shooting for like 11-5, and I think that wins the division. I'm not going to just say we're some squad that goes 14-2. Maybe we can squeeze a 12-4 out of there, but this season is insanely hard. We play teams that are all first-place squads, and there's a stretch of games here starting with week 4 that is a little concerning because we do start with the Falcons, and then we have the Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay, but he's out, so that's a huge factor. The Colts, are they really scary? And then it's week 4, and week 4 is the Titans, which they have a good team, right? They won a playoff game last year.
Semi-tough game, yeah, and then they lost by 40.
Yeah, I know, but it was an away. It's going to be an away game, and then week 5 is the Vikings revenge. I get that.
I like that game at home.
But you thought the Falcons were going to come out? I mean, the Vikings are going to be double that. I feel.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So the third
game,
Kirk
Cousins plays us well. To be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a huge pickup for the Vikings. It's totally different. But then we played the Giants away, and people see last year's Giants, their roster is not a 2-3 win team, and they get rid of Ben McAdoo. They're going to be our strongest threat in the NFC East, I feel.
I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that. And honestly, before Odell was like all the way out last year, they weren't that bad. It took a 60-yard field goal for us to beat them. Odell put them on his back last year in the link and made that a football game, and we had to bang a 60-yarder just to win that game. And I know a lot of people were used to mess with the Eagles fans on Twitter. Oh, you had to beat the Giants with a 60-yard field goal. They're not that good. Back when they were still hating on us before the playoffs started. That team was actually good before that happened. Before Odell went out, the Giants are not bad. He's a game changer. He's going to be back. Like you said, no more McAdoo. I think Saquon Barkley is going to win Rookie of the Year. They are better than Dallas coming into the season, in my opinion. So I'm with you on that. I think up to that point, though, that Giants game, what are we, 6 games in at that point?
Yeah.
Let's say my hypothetical with Atlanta happens and they do lose that game. Like maybe they lose the Vikings game. Maybe they lose the Titans game. Let's say worst case scenario, we're 3-3 at that point.
Oh my God, dude! If we're 3-3 after 6, I'm pissed.
But there's no way we lose to Atlanta and Minnesota.
I know.
There's no way we lose both of those.
But the tougher part of that stretch is the Panthers, Jags in London, Saints, and then Giants again. It's not easy. I mean, every schedule is hard. It's the NFL, but that's a tough stretch from 4 to 10 when it comes to the weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt. Tennessee's not bad. You're in Tennessee. Then you got to play Minnesota. Yeah. Then you're in New York. Then you got Carolina. Then you're in London against the Jags. And then you go to New Orleans. And then you play the Giants again. We don't know what the Redskins are going to be looking like. And then you go to Dallas. And then you go to L.A. to play the Rams. The Eagles' schedule's not easy.
It's scary. No, dude. It's not. But you look at anybody's schedule, it's not easy. It's the NFL. But it does look intimidating. But that's what you get when you're a first-place team. And we can't underestimate this squad. I mean, we are nasty. We are literally
very,
the
very
top the top of the top. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And I think we're on that pedestal now too. Like teams understand now that like we beat Brady at his absolute best and it wasn't a fluke. Like this team's good. On the flip side of that coin, teams are going to be getting geared up to play the Super Bowl champs every week. But looking at it from an overall perspective, even if we do go 10-6 or 11-5 and we just get in the playoffs, I think playing a tough schedule, losing some tough games, winning some tough games, that could just help in the long run. As long as we don't miss the playoffs as a result, I think that could end up making them a better football team in the end.
Yeah, see, I would never have that outlook, and I appreciate that because we lose, I'm fired up. But it's a long season. it's a roller coaster. You learn from your losses. I mean, even Doug Peterson, someone like him, could learn from the play calls. He's going to keep his aggressive motor going, which is fantastic. Ballsiest coach I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. but sometimes it might cost you a football game down the road, But you got to
live and die. At some point in time.
You got to live and die by it. It's that 4th and goal that we did in the Super Bowl. It's that 4th and 1 on the own side of the 50. I was sitting there watching. I said, listen, you live and die by it because we've done it all year long. But now people have coaches. They have film on Doug P. They have film on what we're going to run. They see the way he play calls it. So now you get that under his belt a little bit. Other teams have more film on us.
I think Doug's the kind of guy, though, that I don't think he's going to be rolling out the same 4th and 1s every time. I think he's pulling something out of the back pocket every time one of these situations comes up. I don't think there's really ever going to be a 4th and 1 or a 4th and goal or these situations with Doug where someone on the defense recognizes what's happening just because of how innovative he is. And I feel like him and Carson Wentz are – I don't want to put him in Belichick, Brady bubble or Dungy, Manning bubble. Maybe one day down the road. But when it comes to the work ethic and like their passion for football, I do see those comparisons in them because they clearly work probably harder than almost every other quarterback coach combo in the league. That's why they got as far as they did last year. I think these two are going to be innovative for a very long time. And these situations where we're going to be living and dying, I think we're going to be living most of the time in those situations. My question is, though, at some point, whether it's this year, next year, at some point during Doug's tenure, we're going to have one of these ballsy 4th downs in like a playoff game or a crucial regular season game where we don't get it.
You're right. You're definitely right.
What's the reaction? Because it's going to happen. We're not going to get the 4th one every time his whole career. Yeah. What's the reaction when he doesn't?
I mean, I honestly, with the Super Bowl coming, it's a lot easier to sit back and say, okay, it didn't work. People are going to be upset. No doubt fans are going to be upset and say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
Negadelphia.
Yeah, but if you're a smart... Listen, I'm the first one to do that. But if I sit back and think about it, that's Doug's... That's his motto. That's what he does. So you need to just accept that. That's how... Honestly, I don't want to throw Gabe Kapler into this, but I've come to the point now where I just accept that he's going to make dumb moves because that's what he does.
Yes, and at some point we're going to win a World Series because of it.
Listen, maybe, but we actually extend Doug P through 2022 and Howie Roseman. I mean, you win a Super Bowl, that's the kind of thing that you get. That's what you earn, really, and I love it. I mean, a lot can happen through that time, but I think extending someone like Doug P shows the Eagles fan base, it shows the players that, we have this culture for quite some time.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the culture and the chemistry. That's why we won the Super Bowl without our left tackle, our quarterback, our middle linebacker, our all-pro special teams guy. That's why. That's why, Brodes. We can do this.
Do you think the loss of LeGarrette Blount is...
Yes.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely hurts, but running backs do come more easy than the rest, and you still have a good core. It's not like you don't have a bad core. With Darren Sproles coming back too, that's huge, and obviously Jay Ajayi and what Corey did last year was just amazing.
Garrett there's always a couple runs in every game where he just does something with his freakish size and strength that other running backs just can't do. But I don't think that those 2 or 3 plays a game are going to prevent us from being a Super Bowl team. Like you said, running backs, they kind of do grow on trees. I like Ajayi. I think he could have a good year. And what's he making this year? 500,000? I don't think he's making $1 million.
I bet you he walks after this year though.
Wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I agree.
You can get running backs in the second round. Kareem Hunt was a second round pick. LaShawn McCoy was a second round pick. You can find running backs.
Did you see this? Jordan Matthews got hurt with the Patriots and they cut him. I love Jordan Matthews. It's a shame.
So do I.
I hated that he went to the Patriots, but I love the guy as a dude, and it sucks that he got hurt. But who scares you the most in the NFC? Because we're the Western Conference of football. We have the teams like the Rams, Falcons, Saints, Vikings, Panthers, Packers. We throw the Packers out last year because of Aaron Rodgers. I didn't. Well, I'm just saying, without Aaron Rodgers, they're nobody. And
without Rodgers, they're nobody.
He's going to be there. He's going to be effective. The Rams right now are going through some struggles with Aaron Donald, who's arguably the best in the game at his position. But, the Rams, you got to look at the Rams and what they did. No joke of moves. They made serious moves to try and attack the Eagles, and they're a concerning team. I think if we see them in an NFC Championship game, it's not going to be easy. They're a great team, just as good as us. But,
Yeah.
you know, there are some top teams in this NFC. Who scares you the most?
Well, the Rams, first of all, I need to see them play football. They look great on paper. They picked up some awesome names, but that doesn't always work in football.
You're right. You're right.
Football's about that cohesiveness and being on the same page. I don't care what your name is. If you didn't know what your coverage was, or you thought someone else's coverage was something else, that's going to screw everything up, no matter how good you did at your one job. But I need to see the Rams play before I dissect them. But they could be our biggest competition if it all goes together, because they did make some big pickups. The Vikings obviously are going to be just as good, probably better. Cousins plays us well. But the team that I'm honestly most scared of are the Saints. I'm really scared of New Orleans. Breeze wants another ring before he's done. I think Alvin Kamara's legit. It's tough to go win down there. You don't want to go to New Orleans for a playoff game. No. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But I think if I had to pick a team that I'm most scared of in the NFC, none. But the Saints are the Saints.
I'm trying to think. I feel like the Saints picked up someone big at receiver or something, and I'm just drawing a huge blank. I don't really remember, but whatever. It's not a big deal. But I do agree. Yeah, hit that Google life. I could be wrong, but I feel like they picked somebody up that was big. Maybe a receiver. I could be way out there.
I think they picked up a receiver because they have Michael Thomas is legit.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think they have the best running back duo in the league.
Over the Eagles? Come on now.
Yeah, I do. Ingram and Kamara. Whoo!
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
Pick your
poison.
I
agree, though. I mean, the Rams are nasty on paper, but if they don't have that brotherhood, it can go south real quick. And I just think there's a lot of teams. You can't factor out a Green Bay squad with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. The guy's a magician out there. You never really know what can happen with somebody like him.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just excited that the season's starting to come here. Tomorrow I'm going to be watching guys like Sidney Jones, Dallas Goedert, right? I mean, he's supposed to be a really good piece. Apparently, from reports on training camp, this dude is elite in the red zone. The guy catches everything. That's insane. Now, we do lose someone like Selleck in the tight end position. We don't have a good blocker. They picked up Rodgers expecting him to be a good blocker, and apparently he's just not at all. So we have Ertz, Goddard. That's an amazing duo at the tight end position. We do pick up a Mike Wallace, which is a better Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith could just stretch the field with his quickness. He couldn't catch very well, I'd say.
Yeah, we knew Torrey was going to be gone coming into the offseason because we had to clear cap space, and he was just making a little bit too much for a wide receiver 3. He made some big plays for us, though, in the playoffs. I like Torrey. But we knew having Mac Hollins, who could probably take some more snaps. We went and got Mike Wallace on the cheap. Dallas Goedert, like you said, I don't think that him and Zach Ertz are going to be playing like a strict timeshare at tight end. I think we're going to see them on the field together a lot, especially in the red zone. You saw Ertz, that game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. He was out wide with a cornerback on that play. This is what he does. So I think that Goddard could end up being a very elite addition to this offense. Because do you see some of the catches he makes don't make sense.
Dude, what a snag. To move up in front of Dallas, just taste a little bit sweeter. You know what I mean? Because you know they wanted him. Yeah, they wanted him.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say I knew too much about him going into the draft, but once I've watched some of his highlights, and not just highlights, like actual game footage, like how he presents himself, how he looks on the field, how he gets lined up, not just the catches, like everything he does on the field. I don't understand how he slipped. I don't understand how he ended up. He should have gone higher.
Well, I guess just because there's more important positions. Football's tough. There's so many that team fit. I know, but listen, you said you didn't know too much about him. You're a jerk off if you're sitting there watching all these South Dakota State games on Saturdays. I'm sorry if you're a huge South Dakota State fan, but that's not the college football you're sitting there watching on Saturdays. You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
All right, well, I had a great time talking some football today. We switched it up from the baseball. That won't stop us, though. Make sure you guys watch next episode for that MLB TV 1-year subscription. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.